You're listening to the Otis Jiry channel.
United States of Armageddon by THEGREYMOUSTACHETOO, performed by Otis Jiry. The worst thing about living in the United States of Armageddon isn't the endless streams of blood that stain the streets, or the sea of car wrecks that occupy the highways. Hell, it's not even the bloodthirsty cannibalistic fleshies. It's the soul-crushing loneliness. It's the realization that you're going to be alone to carry the weight of the apocalypse forevermore. But that's the end of the world for you. I'm Wesley Ingenium. I'm 19, and I am the last person on Earth. I think about this as I sit in a desolate cafe. I sip the meager remains of what was left in the machine. It tastes like crap, but it reminds me of a simpler time, a time when cafes like this were bustling with old people and jobless people, and hipsters with typewriters. God, I miss hipsters. Or rather, I miss hating hipsters. Having someone to insult is quite effective in terms of occupying one's mind. I look around the rundown cafe, the light penetrating the building through holes in the ceiling. I watch as the light makes all the dust in the air visible. I'm mesmerized by the dust as it swirls and floats, serving no purpose. I get up and something catches my eye on the floor. It's a cup with the American flag printed on it. I pick it up and wipe the dust off of it. "Make America great again," it says. It's a little late for that, I think, sadly. I put the cup in my backpack as a reminder of the blind trust and optimism this country once held. I go over to the door and take an old container of water and pour it all around the entrance. The fleshies may be monsters, but they don't have the dexterity or brain power not to slip and slide in a pool of water. A simple but effective technique. It alerts me when there are a band of merry cannibals close by. Just as I finish my coffee, I hear the sound of the bumbling undead crashing in the door. I pick up my shotgun and pull out my phone. There may not be any service or signal anymore, but I still have a charger, and whatever buildings still have electricity. I go to the music app as the Walking Dead get closer. I switch on Non Je ne regrette rien by Edith Piaf as I begin to slaughter hordes of fleshies. As the soothing music fills my ears, I fire a shell into the decomposing head of what seems to be a former waitress at the cafe. The bullet rips through her head, causing her face to cave into her head. Her brains spill onto the floor like a thick, repugnant stew. I look down at her, wondering what her story was. What she was doing when the fleshies got her. Did she wait it out here in the cafe for long, or did she get bitten initially? It's a scary thought that there's about 7 billion others like her out there. Their corpses, shamefully reanimated and turned into blood-drenching killing machines. Another fleshie comes shuffling at me. I aim at his head and pull the trigger. My heart skips a beat as I realize the gun's empty. I fumble around my pockets and backpack for his shell. The fleshie is getting closer. I give up and, finding a bullet, and grab the nozzle of the weapon and swing hard, cracking the gun against the gormless cadaver's head. It stumbles and loses its footing. As I bring the gun behind my shoulder for a second swing, it leaps at me, suddenly grabbing my shirt with its rotting fingers. It tackles me to the ground, and one of its fingers comes off and slides into my mouth. I gag as the green molded covered finger slides in my mouth with dark, tarry blood as a lubricant. I knee the hungry corpse and reach up for a glass on the countertop. I spit out the finger and fire the glass at its head, the glass exploding off its head. The fleshie staggers back as I reach for a shard of glass on the ground. I wrap my fingers around the jagged section of glass and jam it into its eye socket. Blood trickles down its decomposing face, and it collapses, dead, again. I look down at its motionless face as one of its eyeballs slither out of the socket and plops onto the tile floor. My stomach turns as I travel out of the cafe. What is the United States of Armageddon, if not ugly, I suppose? I step out into the town that used to be Stonehouse Rock, Texas. I look around the small town. I could almost see the whole of the town just by looking around. It had a population of less than 1,000 before the Armageddon. I headed for here after the end, as my grandfather came from this town and had described it as an unassuming little town in the middle of nowhere on the side of an otherwise lonely highway. So I presumed there wouldn't be a whole lot of fleshies to deal with. I miss my grandfather, although I feel slightly more comfortable about his death than the rest, as he had died just a few years ago, so he didn't have to encounter any of the horrors that this new world brings. I have to stop myself from thinking about my family. It's a road I don't want to go down again. Losing everyone you love, which for me wasn't a whole lot, is a type of pain that doesn't go away. It doesn't get any easier to handle, so I have to keep myself busy and not think about it. I peer around from the center of town, where I stand just outside the coffee shop. It looks like none of the poor bastards in this town had ever gotten away. All the cars in the town were either abandoned or mashed together in the center of town. None of them had even made it to the highway, which was just a street away. I've hardly been here for a week, yet I've already tried all the cars to no avail. They were all either burned out or T-boned. I wonder how long I can stay here for. There isn't any self-sustaining facilities in the town, and the supplies, they're minimal. I haven't been to the supermarket on the edge of town yet, but I glimpsed inside on my way here, and the majority of the fleshies seem to have retreated there. The remains of the last survivors must be located in there. Speak of the devil, I jump as I hear a noise behind me, the unmistakable gargle of a hungry fleshie. I turn to see a little girl, no younger than 6 or 7, limping at me with a manic, emotionless hunger in her dead little eyes. I stare at my feet and fight to hold the tears back that are brewing. I have time to think as she's moving towards me slowly. She has what seems to be a broken ankle, as I can see a bone popping in and out of her skin as she limps at me. She's wearing what used to be a white dress, but like the rest of the world, was drenched in the blood of various innocent people. I decided I can outrun her easily, and that I shouldn't have to put myself through that. I turn and walk quickly away, trying to ignore the knives of pain that were stabbing at my soul. The United States of Armageddon most certainly isn't for the faint-of-hearted. Not that I'm the most masculine of people, but even this would make even the John Wayne-iest of people sick to their iron stomachs. I squeeze past a couple of smoking cars, and I turn to see the girl sprinting at me hungrily, her broken legs squelching sickeningly. I jumped away as she nearly grasps me, and look around and jump into a broken-down vehicle and slam the door behind me. I slide across the back seat as she leans in through the window, grabbing at me. There's blood leaking from all the orifices on her small face. The dark, thick blood streams from her eyes, nose, dribbles from her mouth, her ears, and through several punctures in her face. I attempt to open the car door that I'm leaning against, only to find that it's stuck. I bash and slam against it as the little girl gradually inches into the car after me. I pull up my shotgun and turn slightly and begin to whack the window with the butt of the gun. Just as the girl's bloody fingers reach me, the glass shatters and I scramble back out, leaving her laying in the back seat. I decided now is as good as any time to see if I can find a vehicle. I'd read in the local tourist office that there's a gas station about a mile up the highway. I gather myself and take a small swig of water from a bottle in my backpack. I begin to make my way out of town. I look at my phone, relieved to see it's still early in the day, with plenty of time to get gas and get back. I jog down the street, sigh as I hear a rattle from a store to my right. I begrudgingly pull out my shotgun and look in the direction of the noise. All the color leaves my face as I bear witness to a spider whose thorax alone was no smaller than a bicycle with long, sharp legs. Out of all of my anxieties, neuroses, social problems, and fear of the undead, the one psychological issue out of the many that I possess that trumps all others is my intense and debilitating phobia of spiders. Whatever it is about the eight-legged atrocities, they send me into a state worse than anything else. I step back, jelly-legged, in horror as the impossibly big arachnid inches towards me. How is there even such a thing as a spider this big? That's not even bloody possible. Am I finally going nutso? I rush into a bar opposite the spider and slam the door shut. I puke heavily, almost immediately. I hear it scuttle up to the outside wall of the bar, and my vision goes blurry. My palms become slippery, and my stomach twists and turns as I struggle to breathe. I realize that I'm having another panic attack and quickly fumble in my backpack for some of the little medication I have left. I swallow 2 pills and lay against the bar, waiting for them to kick in. I shudder as I hear it skidding on the roof. As the pills kick in, I start to think more clearly. From what I read about the virus as it was happening around the world, I learned that it can be transmitted by biting or scratching and that it causes death and subsequent posthumous mutations, which turns the victim's corpse into a cannibalistic fleshy. I also read that this could also apply to the animal world, but I didn't think twice about that as the fleshies had already eaten most of the animal population, if not all. But apparently this one damn spider got bit and escaped, and this must be the effect that the mutation has on spiders. I silently pray that there's no more spiders out there to succumb to this virus. I hurry out of the bar and sprint down the street and onto the highway. I slow down when I put a sufficient distance between the spider and myself. I walk down the empty highway, taking in the peaceful and fleshyless scenery while I can. I believe it's important to find some alone time away from the monsters. Spending too much time with the dead isn't exactly beneficial to one's mental state. Oh, God, I need a therapist. After a while, I get to the gas station. The parking lot is empty and consists of only sand. I look at the gas station, disappointed. There doesn't seem to be any cars here. The building itself has all of the windows and doorways blocked with sandbags. The roof is lined with sandbags with spiked wire looped over them. Looks like some folks did get out of Stone Rock after all. It looks like the last few survivors held out in here. Poor bastards. I start to walk around the entrance of the gas station to see if I can find any leftover supplies when I hear a click behind me. The very distinct clicking of someone loading a gun, that is. My heart races as I slowly turn around. I can't help but let the remnants of a grim creep onto my lips as I see a person standing before me, a real person, an alive person who doesn't want to eat me. There's a woman standing before me, wielding a pair of long-barreled revolvers. She's hovering around middle age with dyed red hair, topped with an Indiana Jones hat. She's slightly overweight and is wearing a belt with a pair of leather holsters strapped to her hips, presumably for the twin revolvers. She also wears high brown leather boots that almost come up to her hips. She looks like a cowboy, if cowboys were middle-aged housewives. "Drop the shotgun," is all she says. I do as I'm instructed, speechless that there's another person left. "Put your hands where I can see 'em," she drawls. Truly a native of Stonehouse Rock, if I ever saw one. "So are you some kind of pervert or something?" she asks dryly. "What? A pervert? Me? No, I begin to say. "Prove it." "How can I prove that I'm not a perv?" "Hands where I can see 'em," she shouts. "I'll blow your nuts away without hesitation, boy, and not in the pleasurable way." I contort my face in disgust. Okay, well, I'm Wes Ingenium, and I'm 19, and I'm almost certainly not a pervert or any other kind of threat to you. I'm just glad to see another person survived, I blurt. "So am I," she says, slowly lowering her guns. Eventually, she holsters her weapons and sticks out her hand. "You can call me Red," she says. "No name?" I ask. "Hey, names are overrated. There ain't no need for names in this world. Back when it wasn't just the two of us, names were used to give people distinction from other people to get someone's attention amongst a group of people. So since there ain't no more people around, I don't see the use in 'em." "Interesting," I say. "Why don't you all come inside?" she asks. "You did all this?" I ask. "Sure did. A true free heaven right in this gas station. Follow me." "Aren't revolvers kind of unconventional? It takes a while to reload them, right?" I ask politely. "These are all I need, boy," she says coolly. Honestly, I'm a little disappointed that the only other person left wasn't a supermodel, or at least a girl my age, but I guess I can't complain. We walk around the side of the gas station. Every possible entrance has been covered up with sandbags, except for a small window about a foot off the ground. We climb through. The inside of the gas station is dark and completely empty. "Careful," says Red, pointing around the room. There are dozens of bear traps set up around the floor of the gas station. Most of the chewers, they aren't smart enough to get in here, but if they do, you can bet they ain't going to get very far. We walk around the edge of the room, and she leads me back to the back of the store. There is stairs leading to the basement. We walk down, and I gasp as I see what I've been dreaming of for weeks. Turns out the basement is bigger than the actual store. "Welcome, my scrawny friend, to paradise," says Red. I look around and see piles of canned food, gallons of water, and cases of ammo. We got food, water, alcohol, gas, oil, weapons, and a TV, says Red proudly. "Wow, I gotta give it to you. This is pretty good," I say. "Well, make yourself at home," she says. I look around and spot two large duffel bags. I zip them down and peek inside. There is dozens of military-grade machine guns, shotguns, rifles, and grenade launchers in each bag. "Holy crap," I say. "Where did you get all these?" "I made a little trip down to D.C. last month. I couldn't stay for long because there was too many damn chores, but I did score those in a government building." "Nice." I turn around to see Red lighting a cigarette in her mouth. I must have shown my surprise on my face as I frown crossed hers. "What?" she says. Nothing. It's just that, well, after surviving a whole apocalypse and making it this far, it'd be a shame to die from lung cancer or something." "I will shoot you, Pipsqueak," she mutters. I'm sorry, I was just looking out for you." "Yeah, well, do me a favor and don't do me any more favors," she drawls. I raise my hands defensively and walk over to the middle of the room. There's a fire pit surrounded by a grate. Don't worry, smart-ass. There's a hole in the roof to let the smoke out before you go lecturing me about the dangers of smoke, she says. Suddenly, we hear a loud snap upstairs and we rush up. There was a fleshy ensnared in one of the bear traps. His leg was stuck in the trap as he tried desperately to reach for us. The serrated metal was piercing his leg as he struggled to break free. A wide smile reached across Red's face as she giggled at the bumbling fleshy. She fired a few shots in its torso, making it slip and slide in the spot. She laughed heartily as she tormented the moving dead body. That's disrespectful, I say quietly. Oh, calm down, she says, dismissing me. They used to be people, you know. Look, I'm just trying to have some fun. Loosen up, and newsflash, kid. These bastards ain't people anymore. They're just one more obstacle to get through in this screwed up reality we were thrust unwillingly into. Red fires a shot into its head, finishing the job. I turn just in time to see another fleshy stumble down the stairs into the haven. Red, I tremble. What? She grumbles, trying to pry the fleshy from the bear trap. Red, I'm kind of busy here, boy. I roll my eyes and rush toward the stairs. Red looks up and sees my panic and follows me. We creep downstairs, guns at the ready, and spot the fleshy staggering around aimlessly. Suddenly, the fleshy trips, falling onto one of the barrels of oil. It knocks the barrel onto the ground, spilling the contents onto the pit fire. The fire spreads quickly as the oil flows throughout the room, burning the food, water, and various other supplies. No! Screams Red, running into the room. The fleshy is already dead, now just a flaming slab of meat. Red, move! I yell, seeing the flames spreading toward the other containers of fuel. We gotta get out of here. Red refuses to listen and fusses about attempting to extinguish some of her more valuable resources. I pull her out of the smoking gas station. We climb quickly through the small window and run out to the front of the gas station. Red drops to her knees before the building, all of which is now ablaze. She takes off her Indiana Jones hat and begins to fan the building fruitlessly. I don't think that's going to work, buddy, I say, patting her shoulder sympathetically. I worked on this for months, she responds. I know, I whisper. My guns! My big, beautiful guns! She cries. I thought all you needed was those 2 pistols. She glares back at me. That was when I had dozens of machine guns as a backup. Look, we better get out of here, I say. Can't I at least grieve? She asks. This place is like a beacon for fleshies. The smoke is feet high by now, and you can probably see the light of the fire for miles off a reason. Fleshy? What the hell's a fleshy? She asks. The undead. What kind of stupid-ass name is Fleshy? Well, what kind of name is Chewer? It's an appropriate name, dumbass, 'cause they chew people, get it? Well, they're all, fleshy and stuff. It makes sense. No, it don't. Look, let's just get away from this mess. Do you have a vehicle? A small smile makes its way across Red's wide face. Oh, I got a vehicle, all right, she grins, putting her hat back on. Follow me. Red leads me over to a small garage near the crumbling gas station. She pulls open the door and reveals a bright red Jeep Wrangler. This is Harper, she breathes, and Harper don't take no crap from nobody. Red drives the Wrangler out of the garage. The words, "It's red, bitches," are painted in black on either side of the car with a skull and crossbones. Delightful. I hop into the Jeep and close the door. I settle myself and secure my seatbelt. So, where are we headed, Chief? I ask. Buckle up, boy. We're going to the supermarket.